This afternoon's screening is called Children of Las Brisas. It was filmed over the course of 10 years, which is an incredible feat in documentary filmmaking to do anything for that long, but especially in documentary. So congratulations on finishing a film. This tells the story of 3 children from the Las Brisas neighborhood in Venezuela who are taking part in the El Sistema music education program. You might know one of the most famous graduates, Gustavo Dudamel. He's the director of the LA Philharmonic, and I believe he's going to be actually coming to New York in 2025. 4? Okay. 26. He's coming soon, though, so if you can't make it to LA, he'll be here. We follow these 3 children over the course of their experiences in the program as the country of Venezuela and the government is crumbling. It's really an incredible story of resilience, and we're so happy to be able to share it with you today. We will also have a Q&A following with the director, Marianela Maldonado, and producer, Luisa de la Ville. And all of the nominees, including Children of Las Brisas, are eligible for the grand prize of $15,000, which we will be presenting at the awards ceremony on Tuesday in Los Angeles at the Paramount Theater. We have expert judges, but also you get to help choose that winner. So you should have all gotten ballots as you entered, and you will be the 6th juror when you vote. So you're gonna help us choose the winner of this grand prize. So make sure to vote before you leave. And our filmmakers would like to say a few words before we get started.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. We are very happy and very proud to be part of this year's Shine Global Children's Resilience in Film Awards, where, you know, for us it's so exciting because it's not like a regular festival. It really means a lot. And like Alexandra said, we worked on this shooting for 10 years, and then the post-production was 2. So, and I do want to say that I always feel, and we mention it, that Teodora, that is Marianela's daughter, when I met her, she was a baby. Get up. And look at her now. Okay.
Exactly. So she was like a year and a half when we began this film. It has been a long journey, and we, you know, our team, our beautiful producer, and everyone that came with us in this journey really worked hard because the children inspire so much, their resilience, their families, their fight against, you know, while the country was collapsing. So they kept us inspired to continue this very long journey. Well, we will be later after the film is finished, and we can talk to you. Don't go.
Well, we'll jump right into it because I know we don't have too much time. First, I just want to congratulate you both on such a powerful film and start with a question about resilience, because this is, after all, a film award around children and resilience. So can you explain to us or define for us how you think about resilience and how you felt the 3 protagonists in the film embodied and modeled resilience?
Okay, well, you know, resilience as well is how you survive many challenges and difficulties, but still keep your soul, and, you know, and I think the 3 main characters really from the very beginning, you could feel that, the powerful of their spirit. You have Ville, for instance, who was locked in a church for 10 years, you know, since he was a little kid, 7 years. So he didn't learn how to write or read. When he came out of the church, I don't know if you pick it up, you know, he basically didn't go to elementary school or high school, but during this time, he learned to play many instruments. So when he came out finally he pick up the violin, and that allows him to. So imagine the resilience of that boy that ends up in New York playing. He's now playing in Los Angeles. He lives in Los Angeles. And he plays in an orchestra, works in a restaurant. So imagine the music really gave him the strength to go through so many difficulties, first being in that cult, in that religion, then going and confronted, going and becoming a musician, then confronted the government. As he did it, he was in jail for 3 weeks, torture, and it's really a miracle that his story. The same with Dixandra. Dixandra, that place that you see there where she grew up, is the most dangerous corner of Las Brisas. Every weekend there, 2-3 people were murdered. Yeah, I mean, for us, it was, you see Las Brisas, you see like a nice neighborhood, cute neighborhood, but like a little town kind of thing, but it was so dangerous for us. It took me months to get into there and be respected and had a relationship with all the gangs that control the barrio. At the beginning I had to sit down with these gangs, to talk to them and explain them what I was doing. Some of them were 20 years old, the people, the leaders of these gangs. So imagine the resilience of this girl, of coming out every day from that neighborhood, 5, 6 in the morning, to go to study, to go to music school. Sometimes it was a moment that they did realize, all the members of the gangs, that the instruments were, were precious, were valuable, expensive, and they start stealing them. So Dixandra would leave and her little sister, they would leave their instruments in the school, and they would have to practice there. So it's a lot of determination. Or you see Edison with his mother, who has this discapacity, she cannot hear, but he's such a great guy. He has been working and helping and supporting his mother and grandmother, and obviously all their life is an act of resilience.
I would like to add that after this sad ending, I want all of you to know that the 3 of them, thanks to their resilience, are in a much better place today.
And
the
also
3
thanks
of them.
thanks to the film as well, that
Yes.
has reached a lot of people.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, you want to talk about? No, that Dixandra, we, thanks to the film as well, we managed for her to get a passport. It was impossible. Many of you are Venezuelans here. Some of you are Venezuelans, and you know the difficulty of getting a Venezuelan passport. It's because part of the situation. It's and for 4 years we tried everything, and it was very, very difficult. So that thing alone make her, that she got the passport, and improve her situation dramatically.
We saw in the film, and you've mentioned this just now, the struggles that Venezuela is facing. You created this film over 10 years, and can you speak a little bit to some of the challenges that you faced against this backdrop of so much insecurity, and did you feel unsafe at all?
Yes, I must say that, when you work on a documentary, you have a very small crew. And, but part of that crew was a security team, because as Marianela says, the barrio is a dangerous place. And we had these people alongside us all the time. So that was, of course, that was, difficult. It was scary. I remember once that Marianela was shooting. I was in Caracas, and then she said, there are these guys that have gone by 2 or 3 times in motorcycles, and they keep on, watching us. So, and the security said, you know what, we're leaving right now. And she said, we still have some more to shoot. And I said, of course, you have to leave, all of you have to leave as soon as possible. So that was very hard. In my case, that I'm the producer, the inflation in Venezuela is so terrible that you know, from 1 week to the next, you don't know how much things will cost. And so, you know, every time we were going to shoot, on one side, there were so many people leaving the country that many of the people that I had worked with before weren't there anymore. So I had to get a new crew. And besides that, I had no idea how much I had to pay them because, you know, it's the inflation is, Mr. Bocalandro.
Yes. But an example would be that if we get some money on September, by December you know, the value will be the quarter, or sometimes 10%. So it was really exhausting, you know. I mean, we had so many challenges in so many respects because, as well as you could see, we are as well a country under the regime. So only that was also very hard. So, but the finance of these movies just a miracle, right?
In fact, there were some funds from the Venezuelan Film Commission that they asked the filmmakers to leave 10% for the end, for the part of the post-production. Well, we never used that. It didn't make any sense. You know what? There was no value in that money that was, you know, that remained. And of course, this film was also done a lot of the time, you know, through a distance because at the beginning, Marianela and I were living in Venezuela. Then in 2014, I moved to New York. In 2015, she moved to California.
But I went back every year to film. But we also had to leave the country at some moment because it was quite dangerous. So every time, you know, like every year I would go. But by the time, 2016, I had such a close relationship with them, right? That was, so, you know, and the last time we went to film was 2019. That was the last time. Sorry.
Okay. I'm curious how you arrived at El Sistema as your subject. And you were filming for 10 years. Did you go into the creation of this film thinking about resilience, or did that emerge as a theme? How did the story evolve for you?
Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, the story began, I was living in London and I was working as a screenwriter and filmmaker, and I wanted to write a screenplay. So I met the Maestro Abreu and Dudamel in London, and they were, and some people from El Sistema, and they opened their doors for me, and then I went there to start researching. So at the beginning it was only me, just with a camera researching but when I arrived to Las Brisas, which is the place where, you know, I grew up very close from the theater where they are, yeah? So it really touched me that this was an orchestra that just opened up, and then you could see how excited they were, how the families were just so believing in this, you know, like this could make their life different in so many ways. So just the day I met Dixandra and Erickson, they invited me to their homes. They were like, oh yeah, but come. She was 9 and he was 13. And, you know, I fell in love with them, with their families, and I immediately knew, oh, you know, this is so much better as a documentary, because how do you transmit something like that, you know, the optimism in the middle of so many challenges? So to answer your question, yes, it began with inspiration, what music brings to the kids and the family. Obviously, we didn't know this was going to happen. Yeah? I thought maybe it's a movie of 2, 3, 4 years that I will follow these families as the children learn music, and perhaps it's about how music helped them, you know, help them through their education and their life that is very difficult because they live in these neighborhoods where there is poverty, crime, etc. But obviously, as the film progressed, became something else because it became a portrait of that generation, you know. If you see these 3 destinies of the 3 kids, it's basically the destinies of the majority of this generation. Or they had to join somehow the government to survive, or they confronted the government, went to the protests, were put in jail, and then left, or they just fled the country, like many Venezuelans that I'm sure you have heard that they walk from Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, and Dixandra is one of them. So obviously we didn't know that when we began the film, but you know, the idea was to
Regarding what Marianela just said, many of you had read in the news, but I would like to put it into perspective that over 7 million Venezuelans have left. If you think of 7 million in a country like this, yeah, it's a lot, but in a country like Venezuela, it's 1/4 of the population. Can you imagine that? You know, some of my friends say, you know, now, you know, there's not any traffic now, or, you know, there are so many abandoned houses, apartments. You know, it's really incredible, all of this immigration movement.
There's a really poignant moment in the film where you hear Dissandra questioning all of the years of practice in her music. And I know El Sistema really demands a huge commitment from these kids. And in this film, the stakes couldn't be higher for them. And I wondered how making this film shaped your perspective on the importance of El Sistema and music education more broadly.
I could just talk about that for 3 hours straight, because I think it was one of the biggest lessons of what we learned about doing this. You know, I admire El Sistema and Abreu and everything, and I just try to really portray it in the best way possible because I knew the kids so closely. They have some benefits, great benefits in their life, but at the same time, remember this slowly was taken by a government that didn't care about musical education or anything. They were using El Sistema, and that's the truth. And you have to say, using it as a propaganda, using the kids, using the teachers, everyone that was there that were idealistics, you know, and they were there for the right reasons, you know, because many of these teachers you see there, they will be paid $1, $2 a month. You know, they will do it just because in the beginning, you know, Abreu inspires so many people to do this for the good of the kids, for the good of the country, you know, but still they managed to get salaries, they managed to get some kind of a structure that allows this to continue ahead. But as it went, if you have a country that have no electricity, no water, the inflation, how do you continue getting a program like that? So you know, we have so many experience. You have classrooms where one of the teachers that we follow would buy breakfast for the kids because no one had anything to eat that day, you know? So obviously you start questioning why to continue a program, you know, like that, investing when you have all these other issues happening that are very basic. Obviously, having said that, for me, you know, every lunchtime with the teachers, with the people we were working, we would talk about this. This was our topic. You know, can we continue? Can we give this? The music really helped them, the music. Sometimes the music was the best education they received because they went to elementary school and there were no teachers that day. The school was falling apart. So you think, you know, what do we do? Continue? No? And it's a question that I think is a very profound question, you know?
Well, I think Marianela has explained it very well, but of course, I see in them that the discipline that they have received through this intense music education has served them so well, you know, to go ahead and to continue fighting, you know, thanks to the music mostly.
I asked that question as a music educator myself because I have sometimes parents will say to me, the children in the school aren't passing their basic reading and math tests. Should we be focusing on music? And you know, it's an interesting question about what music does, and I think in many ways it contributes to the resilience that you saw in these three wonderful young people. I think we're going to open the conversation up to the audience. We have a microphone, so I'm going to ask that you please wait for it. Put your hand in the air and wait for the microphone so we can all hear your question. Anyone? Questions? We have a question here.
I'll go across. Thank you.
Hi. Congratulations again. This is funny because I know these two wonderful, amazing ladies very well. Nice to meet you too. And I have never asked this question. I just realized it. Because I was watching the movie again, and I was in tears again. And then it's, how do they manage to build a relationship with these kids for so long, seeing them pass through all this suffering and all this hard work? And I've seen, she's my mom, I've seen her not sleeping because Sandra is on a bus traveling to Peru. I've seen that. I have woken up in the morning. We happen to wake up early, and maybe it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I have like this thread of messages. So now Sandra is here, now Sandra is there. Or maybe you cannot believe what happened to Sandra, she lost her passport. So how do you manage to pursue this project and to accompany them without falling apart, basically?
It's a really good question because I have suffered with them so much. I mean, I just watched the movie, and it touched me again because I remember all this life that we follow and all these moments that were so harsh and difficult, and how we kept it together, and how our team, managed as well to help them. We raise money all the time for them so that they could survive all these difficult challenges, situations. I feel that they are like my other children.
Absolutely, they're part of our family.
Yeah. These three and the others that we follow, we also follow another 4, which will also continue helping and supporting. Because I believe, and I talk so much about this in the filmmaking life, I believe that when you pursue a film like that and follow life like that, you also have a responsibility as well. And, in the 2 big films I have worked, I have, wanted to fulfill that because they are their life, and support them in whatever I can. Obviously, you at the end, you love them too, and you wanted them to do well, and it has been very complex situations and relationships that we had to confront, but I'm happy that we manage.
And we communicate with the 3 all the time. If it's, yeah, she says, yeah. They are my grandsons too, and my real family is here, but like I said, they've become our other family.
Absolutely, and if some of you that are going to go to LA with us, you're going to meet Willie, because Willie's going to be playing. So it's, but I remember when I saw him the first time in Santa Monica Boulevard playing, I was crying because everyone loved him there, and they would hug him, and he would have friends everywhere in that boulevard,
Yeah, and before then, he would play mostly here on the subway, sometimes in the streets. And, I would always see him while he was here, or else we would, go out for lunch or whatever, but it's a very close relationship, and I'm happy that we can help them out because they really need it.
I just wanted to say as well that thanks to the GoFundMes that we have managed to help Erickson to study bakery and pastry, and he has this. We have helped Alexandra as well to study to return to Venezuela, and she's now studying at the university, and she's continuing with the violin because she left it. We have helped the little sister. The little sister is playing amazing. So it's as well a commitment, that you do. It's a cause as well that help a lot of these young Venezuelans as well that are musicians, and that they have to. Many of them are here in the United States, by the way.
I'm happy to hear that. Other questions? Go here first. And wait for the mic.
Hi, congratulations. I'm a filmmaker too. How do you decide when to end? Like in a way, even though the situation got worse, it helps the film. So, and did it ever end a few years ago, and then the situation got worse, and then you said, no, we got to keep going?
Well, no, not for me. For me, I knew that the film was not over. We thought at 2016, when they didn't get into the audition, we were like, obviously we didn't know what was happening. Now, I think it's, for the story, for us, when we realized that it became like the story of this generation, and they leave Venezuela, we already have a natural end, you know, because it is a little bit like 10 years of how they grow up. It's a coming-of-age story, too, as well. So, I don't know, I mean, I don't think with this, after we had this ending that we thought, oh, let's film more, no?
After this ending?
Well, after
Oh.
this ending.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had thought at the beginning that it wasn't going to be this long. You know, we had spoken at the beginning that maybe it would be about 5 years, but like Marianela said, you know, things would always take us to think that we had to continue shooting. I remember certain times that I thought, you know, it was like a dual sentiment because, you know, we have to, and it's an opportunity to tell the story of what's been happening in Venezuela that for us is so important. But, you know, at the same time, you know, sometimes I would think I would like to do something else in life, but
We would like something else with our life, yeah.
Hi. Thank you for making and sharing this beautiful movie. Congratulations. You mentioned briefly that you had to have some difficult conversations with the gangs. Like, I'm interested in how you justified or navigated the conversations with the gangs and to get the government permits, and, you know, what was the angle to them to be able to get their permission?
It wasn't difficult, to be honest, because when I explained to them, they were like, oh, the kids, the orchestra, great. And they will tell me, Katira, which is something they said to people who are Blondie, I'll look after you, don't worry. But then they will tell you, after this corner, that's not my territory. So, you know, you have to talk to someone else, you know. So these kind of things. But what I would do is sometimes I would send a friend of mine, tell the 3 people that control that area, or the leaders, we will be there this week, that's what we were filming. But what happened is that sometimes, you know, that it could be that there is a fight, it could be that there is some kind of problem, and then no one obey any order, yeah? And then if someone is there or is in drugs, or some terrible things can happen, right? So, and also they will tell us, you cannot be here during the night. So, you know, we will have to leave a certain time from there so that they could but, you know, the difficult thing was to find them, to sit down with them, to convince them. But after they get used to you, then it wasn't that difficult. Now, we always had security because these are many gangs, so sometimes they fight between them, yeah? So you had to have someone inside the neighborhood that also knew, you know. Once at the beginning, when I was going alone, I asked a police officer that lived from there, very funny guy, who comes with me, and then someone in the barrio told me, please, don't ask him to come with you, this is worse. You know, people know that he's a police. So, you know, you learn these kind of things, right, when you get, but also, you know, it was very dangerous as well, after in the protests as well, filming or getting into the army place, you know, which it was a miracle. And it's because we had a film producer that worked in a biopic of Chavez. And you know, she kind of had some, and they allowed us to get in because they thought we were sympathizers of the revolution, right? But then we tried to get in again, and we never could, you know, to film with Eric some more when he was these 2 years, year and a half in the army. So there were different moments that were dangerous and difficult in that respect.